I'm just trying to tidy up the bookstore because we've got a book event on tonight. It's Felice Picano. He wrote, his most famous book is Like People in History, and he's just written a new book called Tales from a Distant Planet, which is like crime sci-fi. He's just like a really important gay author, and he's sort of, it's the first time he's in Europe to promote a book. He lives in LA, and he's just a really prolific, sort of like wonderful author for us to have at the bookstore for a book event. So yeah, that's why I'm a little bit manic.
Gay is the Word bookstore, which I've been familiar with for a very long time. When I was a small press publisher back in the 70s, of the first gay press on the East Coast of America, probably the second one in existence, called Seahorse Press. We did a lot of business with Gay is the Word. I remember packing up and bringing to the post office books that 3 months or 4 months or 5 months later would find their way here. And we also had one of the most distinguishing moments of my career, thanks to Gay is the Word, when a book of mine, my first collection of short stories, this is my second, called Slashed to Ribbons in Defense of Love, when that was published in 1983, and it was shipped here, and it was stopped by the Queen's Custom House in London, and they thumbed through it very carefully and decided it was too obscene for British readers, and the shipment of books was actually burned on the docks of Liverpool. And that was really, you know, that's like a feather in my cap. I can't think of a nicer thing that could happen to me than to have my books burned on the docks of Liverpool.
HM Customs and Excise launched a raid on the bookstore, which was codenamed Operation Tiger, where they came in and seized thousands of pounds worth of books. They would have expected, they assumed that the shop was a section, and then they came in and were, I suppose, surprised to find that, you know, a proper bookstore. So they didn't quite know what to take, but they took away a lot of stock. And then Gay is the Word, I don't know if they expected what they expected to happen, but Gay is the Word launched a very successful campaign, defence campaign, and fought. There were questions raised in the House of Commons, newspaper articles. They launched a big campaign fund, and it went on for a few years. The charges were eventually dropped.
I don't think the importance of Gay is the Word for the lesbian and gay community can really be understated, underemphasized. So many of the books that we now take for granted wouldn't have seen the light of day had it not been for Gay is the Word.
We've come today from Warwickshire Libraries to select adult fiction from the shop, and we found it very helpful.
We do have a gay and lesbian section. We have what's called Loud and Proud. Some of us are not very happy with that, but it does signify what we have for gays and lesbians.
It's really enabled us to extend the stock that we have in our library service beyond the mainstream.
I've been one of the great browsers in Gay is the Word. When my own book was published on Oscar Wilde, most of the research that I did was commenced and executed in Gay is the Word. I'd go in and I'd read the second-hand books, and I'd read the new books, and I'd read the magazines, and I'd sometimes look at the dirty magazines. And I kind of hung out there because it was really me exploring gay history, which I hadn't particularly explored before. It was looking for ideas, it was looking for material, it was looking for sources, and occasionally I would even buy something.
Gay is the Word was extremely important to me as a publisher and as a writer. It was important when I published Like People in History 10 years ago. This was a main source of transmission for that book, and if we lose this, I don't know what we have. So we've got to, you know, keep something like this going on.
Gay men and lesbians and transgender community continue to fight for their rights, and I think a big element of that fight for justice and for equality is found all around us in this bookstore.
When we were badly oppressed, we had a much greater sense of purpose and of community. And I think as things have got better for us, as gay marriage has now become legal and anti-discrimination laws are in the pipeline, I don't think there's that same impulse towards unity and community that there was 25 years ago.
This is the most difficult trading period we've ever had. And I have to think of whether or not we've had our day. We're in survival mode at the moment.
We need people to realise that if they don't support small institutions, then the big ones will just eat up everything and the whole country will be run by Tesco's. That's another bugbear of mine, so I won't go into that one.